Welcome back to learnphalcon.com. In this next video, I'm going to show you how to put an access control list in the database. So an access control list allows you to lock down your system so that only users in certain roles can get access to certain functionality of the controller, which is very useful. In previous examples where I've seen this done, typically the access control list is hard-coded into the security plugin. So I'm talking, I suppose, about the Invo application. And that's fine up to a point, but once your application becomes a little bit more complicated, you're going to have problems because you're going to have a lot of users, you're going to have a lot of different roles, and you're going to be in and out of that security plugin all the time. So I've gone ahead and created tables for the access control list, action, DB resource, and role, and now I'm going to generate models for the role, resource, and action, and then do a full scaffold for the access control list. And this is basically to store the information that you'll typically find in the hard-coded into the security plugin. So DB action. So the reason that I don't really need any more code than just the model class files themselves, but for the access control list I'm going to do a full scaffold, and the reason for that is that's where I intend to put the additional functionality for this. So I'm going to put a lot of new functionality in the views and in the access controller for the access control list. So that's fine, that's all been scaffolded. This is where the information is going to be stored. Now, next step in the blog post is to include this populate action function in the access controller file. So populate action function is called by the set access control function, and what it actually does is it goes through the file so you pass it, or the set access control function will be passed a resource name like member from the member, so whatever is a controller is a resource, and it will take every action in the resource folder and add it to the list of actions and the list of resources and so on. So that's the populate action command. It loops through, it opens a file, it creates that class, it gets all the functions from that class, it adds in the resources and adds in all those actions for those resources. Next, in my post, I need the set access control function. So this is really just the access control function for the view, or the one that corresponds to the view. And what the view is basically a kind of a grid of all of the users in the various different roles, so not the users, but the roles for your system, and all of the functions in that particular class that you're trying to create the control list for. And it's a grid-like system that shows who has access to what system. So the last thing is, and this is when the view submits that information that is in the view, is to be processed and to put into the database. This is just the first step, but there's the view file. We need that obviously also. You get a sense of what's going to happen from the screenshot at the bottom of this post. So this is a new view file to correspond with the set access control view. So this will go in the views DB access control list folder, and it's called set access control .phtml. So when we click this, we should see something like this, which is a list of different roles and a list of different actions for that particular. So you pass the particular resource you're looking to create the access list for in the actual controller. So I just click on this. Now we'll see it works. All right. So administrator typically would want access to everything. A guest maybe have access to I suppose very little, but let's say the member has access to the index, new, save, but not the delete function. Okay, so save that. Okay, so that's the end of step one. In the next step, I'll show you how to actually include the security plugin to read that information.